Hello everyone, this is Myths and Magic, and this is part 5 of the D&D story series in Campaign 1. As usual, I hope you're enjoying this series. We'll waste no time in getting started, so just sit back, relax, and enjoy. Before Augustus stood Freya, with a dwarf in tow. "Is that our runaway?" asked Augustus. "Unfortunately, no," he said, dumping to the floor. "I'm going to make a wild guess here and say that's his brother. Just as cowardly. You should have heard him squeal when I torched the idiots downstairs." They dragged the dwarf outside and slapped him to awake him. They asked his name and about the mine and the whole big mystery. He said his name was Nundro Rockseeker, brother to Gundren, and that the information was confidential between the brothers. He did, however, give a copy of a map of Phandelver, with clues leading to small gold deposits near the mine, but gatekeeping the location of the mine itself. He also mentioned the Goblin King captured him after heading to the castle. A couple days later, the Dark Elf came and questioned him. That was when Freya and Augustus noticed something. A battered and bloodied elf with ebony skin awkwardly fumbling out of the castle. "Go, boy," Freya said to Be'lakor. The hound's fur set on fire, and he bounded towards the drow with froth foaming at the mouth. He tackled the drow to the floor. Nundro, Freya, and Augustus stood over her body. She was garbed in leather armor and black cloth, and had a crown's sigil pinned on her overshirt. Augustus asked, "Why were you here, Dark Elf, at this castle, questioning this here dwarf?" "I work for the Black Spider. He sent me here as we had a report from the Goblin King, who was our informant, that a dwarf was looking for the mine." "Why is this Black Spider so possessive over this mine? I don't know. Maybe it's his own store of gold, or perhaps, like any man, he wants it for himself." There was a pause. "Since you've told us everything, it seems like we have no more use for you." His eyes glowed red with bloodthirst. He drew his sword, now embellished in roaring fire. He held the sword over his head. Whoa, whoa, Augustus, we don't have to go kill her. Just stay calm. We can let her go. She has no reason to be against us." Augustus lowered the sword. "Just so we're clear, we won't take you to Phandalin with us." The drow went on her way, while the party and dwarf headed back to Phandalin. About half a week passes. Nundro went away to find his missing brothers. Gundren was nowhere to be found. Supposedly, he went to the northeast coast. Meanwhile, the other brother had apparently been close to finding the mine, however disappeared on an expedition. The pair talked over some beer. Well, Freya did, while Augustus had some apple juice. They assumed the Black Spider had most likely killed the other brother, maybe Gundren as well. During this talk, they noticed someone pointing fingers at them and talking. He was quite rotund in shape, garbed in green robes, looking much more sophisticated than the rest of the townsfolk. He walked towards the party, with many eyes drawn towards him. He introduced himself as Harbin Wester, the townsmaster. He asked a favor of the party. There was an orc encampment set up southwest of Phandalin, which to the townmaster threatened the safety of the people here. Alongside this, some travelers were attacked on the road by these orcs. After hearing of the party's exploits, he wanted to hire them to clear them out. In return, he offered 100 gold each. The party accepted. It might be nice to do something on the side that actually earned them money. They went to their accommodation and wasted no time to prepare themselves. The camp was only about 3 miles away, so they went on foot. This time, more uneven hill terrain greeted them. It took about an hour before the fires emerged in the night sky, alongside the gruff, growly voices. Augustus suggested that the 3 of them wait before attacking. It was almost like a small pit with a boulder in front of a cave. A couple of minutes passed. Freya grew tired of waiting. He stood upon a large rock above the encampment and used magic to increase the volume of his voice and loudly declared, "Okay, everyone, you need to leave away from Phandalin, okay? Everyone understand? Now, we can do this the easy way or the hard way." They chose the hard way. Augustus facepalmed as the orcs started roaring in defiant anger. Immediately, the orcs drew their motley armaments and rushed towards the party. Freya flung eldritch blasts of magic. Augustus chucked his spear and swiped with his sword, while Bellicor tore the greenskin's flesh. The fighting drew on. Hordes of orcs swarmed them. Augustus's eyes shined like red roaring fire once again. Fire wrapped and coiled his sword, illuminating the dark camp. Black feathered wings sprouted from his back, and as he leapt at the orc leader, his wings flared, resembling the kind of horrible deities carved on the walls in temples and churches. This was not the godly image Freya viewed him to be. Instead, before him was something evil and bloodthirsty. Augustus went berserk on the leader, while Freya and Bellicor held off the main horde. Finally, Augustus drove his sword through the orc boss, while Freya finished off the rest. Both were covered in vile black blood from head to toe. There was some gold to loot from the bodies and cave, but other than that, there was nothing left. Augustus had calmed down, now appearing in his more regular form. On the walk back, Freya sparked up a conversation. "So, when were you going to tell me about the fire sword and red eyes and wings?" Freya asked. There was a long pause. "My mother was killed by a knight in black armor. While my father was on the mortal plains away from my homeland, this knight was sent to kill him. Instead, my mother was caught. The knight kept me alive, but cursed me." He lifted a portion of his underarmor, showing parts of his chest. It was blackened, with grotesque striations of flesh and veins. "It feeds off anger and rage. I have studied the healing arts fueled by my godly blood, yet nothing has cured it. I've never seen anything like that. That's also beyond my knowledge. Just promise me you won't go ape on me," said Freya. They went back to the inn. The next morning they were breaking their fast. Hub and Wester came in and paid the party. They put the money away, then came down to see two men barging through the door. They were garbed in red leather and hooded in black. They demanded to see an elf and a fairly large man who had booked in recently at the inn. The pair hid behind the stair railing. No one spoke until the men started assaulting some of the townsfolk. Freya went out to intervene, with Augustus following behind. Immediately a bar fight broke out. Freya grappled one of the men, pushing him into a table, then knocking him over. He was on top and then knocked him out. However, Augustus ended his encounter much quicker. He pushed his opponent to the wall and punched him. The man's face caved in, and his body fell lifeless to the ground. Augustus had just accidentally murdered someone, in a bar and in public. Hello everyone, today's miniatures of the week are these. These are my Rivendell knights from my Rivendell army, like Elrond and Gil-galad and his Kingsguard that I showed before. These were my first ever cavalry models, and these were the only MESBG models that really stood out in quality to me, so I decided to purchase them. Plus they're really, really good in game. I really enjoyed giving a custom paint scheme to these guys. I added a black cloak to symbolize them as the cavalry in the army, and meanwhile the Kingsguard get purple cloaks, and then the regular troops get grey. I painted them in the regular gold armor scheme because I don't particularly like the silver armor on these elves specifically. They look better on the Galadrim ones that Games Workshop sell as well. Overall, I think these were a nice experience to paint. It taught me to paint in semi-sub-assemblies. I painted the rider and horse separately. I never also painted horses before, and I did a lot of dry brushing on the capes. So I learned a lot of new techniques alongside the volumetric highlighting on the capes. As usual, if you want to see more content to do with, say, miniature painting, please let me know down in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I really hope you enjoyed that cliffhanger there. As usual, feel free to like and subscribe to my channel. Stay tuned for the next episode, and I'll see you then.